Hi. Here's Henny making biscuits on a pillow. He's a little restless. There's Guster. I made a song for Henny and Guster. I'm debating as to whether or not I should sing the song for you guys. Some of you probably know it, but why not? Henny and Guster, Guster and Henny, Henny and Guster and Guster and Henny. And then it goes on and on like that. All right, on to the Bible study. So, well, maybe I'll sing that later. It kind of sticks in your head, and I kind of just want to keep singing it. Henny and Guster, Guster and Henny, Henny and Guster and Guster and Henny. Anyway, okay. So, chapter 12. No, I'm sorry, we read chapter 12. We're now on Genesis chapter 13, and then Matthew 5. And we left off chapter 12. It's funny because Henny is like, totally has his back towards me, but okay. And let me focus. Whoops. As this channel evolves, which I hope it will evolve. Excuse me. There's a piece of... I'll become more sophisticated in my cinematography. Okay, so chapter 13. So we left off chapter 12, Abram and Sarai, you know, the kind of biblical escapades that were going on. But anyway, what happened was, let's see, the last verse was verse 20. Let's just read that. Well, no, I don't have to read that. Okay, well, let's just read chapter 13. So Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev, he and his wife, and all that belonged to him. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold, and he went on his journeys from the Negev as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there formerly, and there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, and the land could not sustain them while dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to remain together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. Now the Canaanite and the Perizzite were dwelling then in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, "Please, let there be no strife between you and me, nor between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Please, separate from me. If to the left, then I will go to the right, or if to the right, then I will go to the left." And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the valley of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as far as you go to Zoar. So Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed eastward. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled in the cities of the valley, and moved his tents as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked exceedingly and sinners against the Lord. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give it to you, and to your descendants forever. And I will make your descendants as the dust of the earth, so that if anyone can number the dust of the earth, then your descendants can also be numbered. Arise, walk about the land through its length and breadth, for I will give it to you. Then Abram moved his tent and came and dwelt by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. Well, this is a pretty famous passage. And what stands out to me is, well, what stands out to me is the fact that Abram was like, look, whatever you want, you go ahead and take, as it concerned the land. And Lot, he didn't, he didn't quibble. He wasn't like, hey, this part's mine. You can have this little part here. He was like, okay, you choose, and then I'll go with whatever you don't choose. That kind of stands out to me. Also, of course, the promise of the Lord that, he's going to give him the land, and that his descendants will inherit it and be more than, his descendants will just proliferate. Okay. We'll move on to the New Testament, Matthew chapter 5, which is one of my favorites. Oh, it's long. Okay. So Matthew chapter 5 in the New Testament. And when he saw the multitudes, he went up on the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. And opening his mouth, he began to teach them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men cast insults at you and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward in heaven is great, for so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has become tasteless, how will it be made salty again? It is good for nothing anymore except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do men light a lamp and put it up under the peck measure, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I came to abolish the law or the prophets. I did not come to abolish, but to fulfill. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or stroke shall pass away from the law until all is accomplished. Whoever then annuls one of the least of these commandments and so teaches others shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever keeps and teaches them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say to you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. You have heard that the ancients were told, you shall not commit murder, and whoever commits murder shall be liable to the court. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court, and whoever shall say to his brother, Raca, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court, and whoever shall say, You fool, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. If therefore you are presenting your offering at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and present your offering. Make friends quickly with your opponent at law while you are with him on the way, in order that your opponent may not deliver you to the judge, and the judge to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Truly I say to you, you shall not come out of there until you have paid up the last cent. You have heard that it was said, You shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who looks on a woman to lust for her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if your right eye makes you stumble, tear it out and throw it from you. For it is better for you that one of the parts of your body perish than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand makes you stumble, cut it off and throw it from you. For it is better for you that one of the parts of your body perish than for your whole body to go into hell. And it was said, Whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of dismissal. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife, except for the cause of unchastity, makes her commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. Again, you've heard that the ancients were told, You shall not make false vows, but shall fulfill your vows to the Lord. But I say to you, make no oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is the footstool of his feet, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Nor shall you make an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. But let your statement be yes, yes, or no, no, and anything beyond these is of evil. You have heard that it was said, An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist him who is evil. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, let him have your coat also. And whoever shall force you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks of you, and do not turn away from him who wants to borrow from you. You have heard that it was said, You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, in order that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. For if you love those who love you, what reward have you? Do not even the tax gatherers do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what do you do more than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? Therefore, you are to be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. Okay. Well, thanks for listening. That was Matthew 5, Jesus' words. And he really raises the bar. It's like there's so much that I love in that passage. And then there's a lot that is kind of intimidating. But I think he fulfills the law. So when you have him within you, abiding in you, then you fulfill his words by virtue of the fact that he fulfilled his words. He fulfilled the requirements of the law. Anyway, I don't need to get I don't need to preach a sermon here, because that's not what I want to do. Just keep it simple and let the words stand for themselves. And I guess the wonderful things in that passage, honestly, I take to heart, and then the things that are difficult, I don't know what to do. I guess that's when we wrestle with God and we just say, yeah, what do you mean by this? So each of us can do that in our own way with God. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And thanks for listening to my song. Bye.